Right. Recording from now on. We're sitting on a beach, looking at the Thames as the tide goes out. The sun is shining, it's a blue sky, and there are some seagulls pottering around on the edge of the shore. What brought you to this beach?
Well, I have a day off, so I thought I'd hang around London a bit, so obviously I'm a tourist. And I read this book about mudlarking from this lady.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought I'd see what I find. I love that on beaches. So, and I usually do it on the seaside, but it's like, this is a river, so that's different. And I was a bit disappointed because kind of the 3 days I'm here, the tides are not well, so yeah, they're not really low.
So, you've come to the beach, you've sat down, and you're just taking in the scene. Because the thing about cities is everyone's going somewhere. Everyone's going from A to B, people are in a rush. People don't often just sit down like you're doing and just take in a scene and don't actually do anything. Is this how do you like to sort of build this into your days? Just sitting and watching?
Yeah, when I'm working, I'm quite busy. So, but on the weekends I sometimes do it, and no, it's more a holiday thing. It's a day off thing.
Right. So this is a treat. Being able to just sit and be.
Yeah, of course. And it's kind of, you see these busy people up there, and there's nobody here except for you. So we're all alone on this beach.
Yeah.
And and I quite actually enjoy being a bit away from the crowd because London tends to be busy.
How do you plan your holidays? You say you're being a tourist at the moment. This is not your city. Do you just have empty days and see what happens, or do you like to make sure you hit certain targets?
Well, I'm here for 3 days because of a work event. So, and I do kind of try to have some days off when I have these work events. And then, I got a guidebook and, no, but I woke up this morning saying, what am I going to do today? So I really like having no plans and see what things evolve. Yeah, I like to see the different quarters of town, like Chinatown or Banglatown or whatever. I like taking in the scenery, like when you walk through the tube to the metro, like the different kinds of people. Can you recognize in which town you're in? So.
So almost like if you closed your eyes and didn't know where you were and then opened them, do you sometimes think, could I tell I was in London?
Exactly.
Versus Paris or Rome or
exactly.
Rotterdam?
And not from the signpost, but like from the kind of people that you meet or that you see.
Yeah. So are you someone who crosses countries and borders and cultures quite often? Is that kind of part of your...
Yeah, that's part of my job.
Part of your job. So when you've done that in London, can you tell you're in London?
It's very different. In the first tube station I was in, it was kind of lots of people with suits. And I was said, hey, that's dress code from the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
We don't get that anymore. So it's yeah. So but then in other parts of town it's different. I don't know if I could tell. Yeah, but I suppose if I'd been here a while, I could tell. Yeah.
I always think if I'm abroad, I can usually tell a Brit from quite far away. I can see by the way they dress, by the way they carry themselves. There's something about recognising your own culture in faraway places. Do you find which country are you from?
Germany.
From Germany. Do you find that when you're abroad, you can spot people from Germany?
Yeah, sometimes you have an idea, but then sometimes it should be should be good to validate or verify that idea. Just trying to find out, is this guy really a French guy or really a Canadian or really a German? So, but and sometimes you find you're wrong, and sometimes you find you're right. So, but like kind of, it's a nice idea to being say, hey, this guy is that from there.
Yeah. And because you're someone who travels and sees different places, do you also have? Does it have also an opposite effect where you see the commonalities and actually you see that the national differences and the boundaries and the political arguments about identity don't count for much because everyone's the same when it comes down to it, in terms of their value system, in terms of how they react? Or would you say that's not the case and there are distinct differences?
I think, well, there's two sides to it. There's individuals, and an individual is always an individual, and it's different to other people. And then there's these common things from let's say countries so from different societies, and it is a big difference how you're brought up and what the values you have. Of course, that changes from family to family and from level of society to level of society. But nevertheless, the way of thinking can be very German or very Chinese or very whatever, British, French. The values are different. And on the other side, we're all humans. You know, we all want to be loved. We want to love. We are hungry. We like friends, we like to have fun, we like to, I don't know, dance, and I dance. So and dancing is like, that's a so common thing across the world. It's like I dance Argentine tango.
Oh wow, which is quite complex. I mean, it seems, I've never danced it, but it seems like a complex dance.
Yeah, you can take, you can take you can learn your whole life.
Well, that's nice. There's no ending to the adventure with tango.
There is never an ending, no. But that thing is the same everywhere. So you can go to Australia, you can go to Canada, you can go to India, you can go to everywhere in Europe. And it's a language everybody understands. And it's the same everywhere. So we have the same ground.
Just on the Argentinian tango, what is it that works for you with that particular dance? Why does that synchronize with you and it becomes something that you want to go back to and back to?
Basically there's several aspects to it. You're into the music, you share it with a partner, you share it with a group on the dance floor, because it's like it's a social dance, so you're also connecting to the group, you're moving through space together, and it turns off your brain, so you stop thinking, and it's like a meditation.
Wow, that sounds great.
There's nothing better after a day of work. It just turns your thinking off.
For some reason, I thought it would be the opposite. I would have thought you would have to concentrate really hard to get it right. Is that something in tango? Are you always trying to get it right?
No,
or is that not the point?
You concentrate to interpret the music, to be with the music. Of course, you can, and this right and wrong thing, try to get it out of your head. But you concentrate, so you get into this flow. I don't know if you know the flow concept.
No, tell me.
It's like you just concentrate on one thing and there's no side thoughts, and you're just in the flow, and things happen. And this is and you can have that flow feeling from running, from I don't know, from doing science for whatever. But it's like a flow.
So does it take when you're dancing, does it take a little while to get into the flow, or do you go straight into it the more you do it?
No, it's of course you have to get used to the partner, you have to get used to the surrounding, but of course it doesn't always happen, but it happens from time to time, and that's the lovely thing.
And do you dance with different partners, or always the same partners?
No, different ones.
Different partners.
Yeah.
So which is a whole thing, because you have to, like you say, adapt immediately to whoever you're with.
Yeah.
And also tango is quite a close dance. You're physically touching each other.
Intimate, yes.
Intimate.
So there's an intimate connection, which is an unusual thing in our world.
It is an unusual thing, yeah, it is. It's so you come together with someone you don't know, you have an intimate dance with them,
And then you leave.
and then you leave.
And that's the nice thing, you leave.
Yeah.
So it's clear that after 3 or 4 dances, it's over.
Have you been to Argentina?
No,
Would you like? Is that something you'd like to do, to dance tango in the home of tango?
not necessarily.
In terms of the dance, everyone's got a different style, everyone's got a different ability. So you're both coming together and meeting in the middle. Let's say you're dancing with someone who's not used to it or is learning, etc. That must change the way that you dance.
Yeah, you try not to lose her. So yeah. So yeah, you try not to you try to do things where she can follow.
In terms of the flow, you mentioned the fact that it's used in different environments. Could be work, could be anywhere. Do you use it at work? Do you get into the flow at work?
No,
No.
no, not with my work.
What is your work?
No, I have got my day off.
Work will remain a mystery. We're in a historic part of London. We're just on the east of centre. We're in EC, East Central. Right opposite us is Shakespeare's Globe, and the Tate Modern, and the Millennium Bridge. We can see the Shard to our left. Do you like being amongst a bit of history? I mean, mudlarking is kind of all about history. It's about finding things from the past.
No, I'm curious about history. It's actually, I don't know. I like seeing how people lived in the old days, like where we come from, because in a way it forms us. But it's just a lot of curiosity, I think, and. And it puts today in a different picture. If you see how people lived, I don't know, 20, 50, 100, 200,000 years ago.
One of the things I think that's all I like doing in a place like this is imagining 100 years ago, imagining 300 years ago. Someone sitting on this beach in this place where we are. They've been doing it for millennia. We are in the centre of an old city. And we're surrounded by bits of pottery, bits of tiles,
Old bones.
old bones.
Lots of old bones. I think there's lots of charcoal on this beach.
Yeah, there's some charcoal here. There's all sorts.
Old glass.
Lots of old glass.
Nails.
Yes,
Old nails.
that's a nice nail.
Yeah, that's kind of, and you see, this is a really old bottle.
Yeah.
It's
A thick piece of glass.
Exactly. And the problem is, you find things and you can't take everything home with you. Your wife will kill you.
Pockets full of junk from the shore.
There's these clay tubes. Do you know
Yeah,
what these
yeah.
clay tubes are?
So these are from the pipes.
That people smoked.
It's smoked. You know the long clay pipes
And
with
it's
the little bowl at the
It's
end,
a single-use pipe.
and a single-use pipe. Yeah. What I like to think about those is, especially when we're sitting opposite Shakespeare's Globe, I always think maybe Shakespeare smoked this pipe when he wrote Much Ado About Nothing. the power of the imagination. What's your name?
Alexander.
Alexander. What's the feel you're getting from London this particular visit, Alexander? We're in springtime. The weather has warmed up, which makes for a different kind of city. The leaves are coming out.
Yeah, it's spring. That's always nice. It's a nice part of the year. It's been a very long time that I've been to London, so it's kind of I'm just exploring, and this city is a weird mix of kind of these old brick buildings and then these skyscrapers with glass or all glassy stuff and huge.
Yeah.
And I find this quite weird.
What, the sort of juxtaposition?
Yeah.
It also, I mean, it depends which part of town you're in.
Of course.
And you could, if we cross the river and look the other way, we might get a slightly. But exactly where we are, there's a lot of glass. There's a lot of new stuff.
I live in a relatively small city, so small, but where you can just, you have nature all around. You have lots of trees in London, I see that, but like kind of it's a big city, and you see people running on the Thames Walk here, and like kind of if people didn't go running where I live, they run in the wood.
Nice.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
So I think that's the big city thing.
I mean, one of the things about cities and the human life that goes on in them is they're quite zoned. Like if you go to one area, you get a different. So if I cross from east to west, from north to south, and within each region, even from street to street, you'll get a really different feel. So it's not very homogenous.
No.
A big city. And I always think that London can be many different kinds of London to different people.
Yeah, but that's. I think you get that with other cities too. So it's a lot of villages put together.
Yes, good point. A lot of villages, and some people stay in their villages,
which is fine. Because in the end, you want to have a social life. You want to know people, you want to meet people.
I mean, it is said in literature and in sort of poetry, people reflect on the fact that a city can sometimes be the most lonely place. When you're amongst loads of people, you can feel alone, even if you're surrounded by thousands of people on a busy street. So just us all being jammed together doesn't quite solve that problem.
I think it's the places and cultures are different. There's cultures or places which are more welcoming, which are open, where you can make friends, and there's cultures where people say, "Hey, I already got a friend, I don't need you." And that's not a nation thing. I think it's a village or a town thing. There's towns where people are really welcoming, and they're curious about you. They want to get to know you. They want to meet you. They want to make friends. And there's places where there's not really. They'll have a beer with you or they'll have a chat with you, but they never want to be friends with you, and where it's hard to make friends. And I like to meet people and make friends. And yeah.
Do you think it changes with age? Like at the age that you're at, do you make less friends than when you were younger? Do you think just things get established and you just don't have the same opportunities? Because I feel with my life, the older I've got, the less opportunity there is. When I was younger, there always seemed to be a social momentum, things going on. You knew far more people. As you get older, that narrows down. Has that happened with you, or has there been a different trajectory?
No, I think like when you're at university, you might study in a different place, and everybody needs new acquaintances, and then that's very easy. And afterwards, you kind of start work, and then it gets more difficult. And then you have kids, and through the kids, you again get to know people, but then it stops again. Then you can go to a choir, or you can go to some activities or volunteering. And then you meet people, so it's like kind of going out, but I don't know if it's, of course the opportunities get less, but like you need to go out more, and if you go out more and you're open, I think you meet people. And I suppose when we're just old, we just sit at home. I'd be glad to, have my telly, have my
Your pipe and slippers and your newspaper or whatever.
or your garden, and then of course you can't complain that you don't meet many people.
Yeah. It's a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy if you stay at home. Yeah.
But of course you don't go dancing every night, but when we were young, we danced every Friday and Saturday. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do that anymore when you're old, like you don't meet people.
Can you continue your dance to a very old age?
Yes.
So tango is not limited by age.
No.
You could be an old tango dancer.
No, you cannot walk anymore, but you will still dance.
Ah, that's great. That's great.
Yes.
And do you sometimes seek out you're here on the beach on your own until I interrupted you? Do you sometimes enjoy just time for yourself? I'm going to give myself the morning, I'm going to give myself the day, because it's important to have my own space as well as being with other people, talking to other people.
I wouldn't say that I consciously do that. No, actually, I'm not an alone person. I like social contacts. So I like being with people. In a way, yeah, half. I don't know.
So, having read the mudlarking book and thought that seems interesting, you've come down to the beach. You're sitting surrounded by bits and pieces. You're going to fill your pockets?
Yes, of course.
And each thing will tell a story.
But I need to empty my pockets before I leave tomorrow. So I'll, experience says don't bring too many things, because you'll never look at them at home, and your wife will hate you for it. And I just moved. So we had to move because the house was sold.
Right.
So, and then you find out how many things you have, even though you emptied all your cellar, you still have much too many things.
This is true.
So, yeah.
I spoke to someone for this podcast. She'd recently moved, and the movers said to her, "You've done much better than most people. Most people try and fit 3 houses into a flat." So their opinion was the average person has 3 times too much stuff for the space. Did you find the move actually quite interesting in terms of sorting out your life and all the bits and pieces? Did you get rid of some stuff?
I got rid of some stuff, but I hated it.
Oh, right. So you wanted to hold on to it.
I'm a collector.
Oh, right.
And
okay.
If there's a nail, it might be useful. And it's a memory, and that thing's a memory from that. And I like that book. And then you unpack your books and you find, oh, I've got this book. Yeah, put it in the shelf, and then that's it. And you'll never take it into your hand again in the next 20 years. So why do you need it in your shelf? But I like my bookshelf.
So you are sentimental about certain things, but you also have the inner dialogue of, I'm never going to read it again, so why do I even keep it? But it sounds like the collector usually wins.
Yeah, definitely.
And what about your wife? Does she?
She's better at throwing away things.
Right. Okay. So you have different approaches, which means that you have to protect your stuff, because she'll just say you don't need it. You really don't need it.
Exactly. Well, and she's right often.
It's a good balance, though. It's good to have that balance between you. Is she quite ruthless?
What do you mean by that?
In terms of like, no, it has to go. This is yeah. I'm going to put my foot down. Like, is she quite ruthless with her own things in simplifying?
Well, I think we give each other our space. Like, kind of, she does with her things what she wants to do with hers, and I can do with mine what I want to do with mine.
Yeah.
And then we have some common stuff where we need to find common decisions. But like, it's hers and it's mine, and
right.
And we yeah.
Have you managed to find like your own space, like your collector's room, where you could just put all your mudlarking pieces, all the bits and pieces?
In a way, yes. But we've got some common space, and there's also some collector's items.
Oh right, so you're slowly taking that space with your stuff.
No. She needs to agree, kind of. Yeah, we get together there.
Yeah.
What's the yellow boats? Is that something official, or is it also tourist?
No, so those are. There's about 3 or 4 companies, and they're just speedboats. They go down the river, and then when they get past a certain point in the river, a certain bridge, they can go faster, and they zoom around, and everyone goes woo. So it's kind of like a thrill thing.
Okay.
And you pay for an hour or 2 hours or what have you. It's quite a recent thing. It used not to be there, but it makes for a busier river and a noisier
Yes.
river. The other day I was further down the river at the Isle of Dogs, where there's a big bend, and there was a seal just having a nap on the beach.
A seal?
A seal, yeah, because there are seals here. And I just thought, if you're a seal, when you're underwater, engines are amplified. It must be an incredibly noisy river to be a fish or a seal or any kind of wildlife that lives under the water. But it's much less busy than it used to be. If you look at the old paintings and the old photos, I mean, the whole of the Thames would have been covered in sailing boats, rowing boats. It is a maritime city.
I suppose so. Yeah. Well, you still have the waste going out in boats, for example. So it's still used for transport.
Yeah. And the river is still controlled by the Port of London Authority, so I mean it's a commercial waterway. Maybe not in a way that a proper port like Rotterdam or something would be, or Hamburg. Is Hamburg a port?
Yeah.
My knowledge is not very good, but you know, you'll have big ports in Germany which are working ports with huge ships. The big ships can't get up here because of the bridges. But yeah, it's busy. So also we're busy with people. There are so many people crossing that Millennium Bridge beside us. Mostly tourists, probably. And yet you can come onto this beach and you're the only person at low tide, which is great.
Actually, I read in this, I don't know which book it was. It was this. There's a walk book through London, and it said, like kind of people, I don't know, 50 or 100 years ago, used to use these beaches as beaches. They'd come down to the beach and put their towel. I don't know how their towel looked like at that time, but like they'd have a day on the beach if the tide allowed it. So these were actually beaches.
And they fulfill that purpose. Some people do, but I'm always amazed that in a city of 8 or 9 million, nobody comes to the beach at low tide. And it's got sand, and it's got the sound
sun.
It's got the sound of the waves. It's peaceful.
Well, I suppose you don't swim.
I once made the mistake of swimming in the Thames at low tide. It was a very hot day. Once will do. I don't think it was very good for me.
But like it's a bit of a shame because there's the rivers in Germany of that size where you can actually swim. You can swim in the Rhine, for example. In Switzerland, they go in on one side. They have these bags, these waterproof bags.
Oh, I've heard of this.
And then they swim down they float down the river, and then they take the tram to get back up, or they've got their stuff with them, and then
Fantastic.
yes, and that's really nice.
That'd be great. But those must be rivers from the mountains rather than a river in the southeast of England. There's no mountains anywhere near here. Are you going to go on the river as part of your visit this time? Are you going to take a water taxi or
I sort of, but it's kind of 14 pounds per ride. And in Bangkok, you do the same, and it's kind of 5 cents, 5 pennies.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's normal transport for them, and here it's kind of
It's
a touristy thing. And why?
Yeah, it is expensive. You could bring your own canoe, a fold-up canoe, a blow-up canoe. So that is the middle of the day. We're halfway through the day. It's midday, and that is St Paul's Cathedral behind us, bonging. The sound is bouncing off the Tate Modern. Have you thought of what you're going to do in the second half of the day, Alexander, on this day off? Or are you just going to see what happens?
I think I get some food. I'll go to Chinatown, get some whatever chili sauce my wife told me to get.
You've got a shopping list you need to take back.
And I don't know. So, yeah.
That's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Like funny podcast people coming to you and talking to you about your life and everything.
Yeah.
I haven't had that before.
This wasn't on the plan.
No.
Well, thank you very much for giving me the time to chat, taking the time to have a conversation.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.